to the Rock Mountain Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, lithium batteries are the determined cause of a fire that leveled a warehouse in Chelsea.
Plus, the Brewer Fire Department has received a new piece of equipment that will help save lives in the case of an emergency.
And we'll also head to Booth Bay Harbor, where the schooner Bowdoin is getting ready to set sail for the Arctic once again.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We'll have all the day's news coming up, including that neat story from Booth Bay Harbor. Talk about an adventure of a lifetime. The Maine Maritime Academy students are getting ready to set sail today.
You know it's a big deal if one of our reporters drives all the way to Booth Bay.
Yeah, had to get the story. So
right.
We'll have their thoughts as they get ready for that big adventure. But first, a check of our forecast, and it's starting off to be a really nice day out there today. We can expect partly cloudy skies with temperatures up in the mid-70s. Not bad at all. Not too humid. A little humid, but not bad. And then maybe a little more rain moving into the area after today.
Yeah, seems like today and the next few days are the days to get your AC unit in.
Right.
Because it's going to be a hot one this weekend.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with that forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, some areas of dense fog greeting us this morning. At the moment, no advisories are posted as a result of that, or the wave heights either, so we're looking okay in that department this morning. There's a few areas of reduced visibility because of some localized fog. But otherwise, though, there's a few passing clouds, maybe a little bit of moisture last night, but overall looking pretty good as we do take a look outside this morning. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky moving forward today. Zooming things out other parts of the Northeast, seeing just a little bit of rain this morning. Further out over the ocean, some lightning being detected, so some thunderstorms over the ocean. But for us, we're starting to enter in a little bit more of a drier stretch. So we'll be under a partly cloudy sky moving forward today. We'll be partly cloudy tonight. Tomorrow, though, maybe a slight chance for a rain shower or two. As for the winds, not too bad. Roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Maybe some spots up to 11 miles per hour. Maybe a few gusts up to 15 or even 20 miles per hour at times. So for today, partly cloudy with highs in the mid-70s and the northwest winds sustained at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Some higher gusts are possible. By tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the middle 40s, and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, here we go, mostly cloudy, maybe some isolated showers with highs in the lower 70s and the north wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a partly cloudy sky, temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
Thank you, Devin. There are new developments in the investigation into a fire that destroyed a warehouse and multiple sheds in Chelsea on Sunday afternoon. Crews responded to the New England rent-to-own on the River Road around 1 p.m. According to the Chelsea fire chief, the building that caught fire was being used to build storage sheds. He says nobody was in the building, but the warehouse and all the materials inside it were destroyed. The state fire marshal's office has determined the fire was in fact accidental, and it started in an area of the warehouse where lithium batteries were being stored. This is the second fire in a week to have been attributed in some way to lithium batteries.
Well, Senator Susan Collins visited our studio yesterday, and we touched on a number of issues. And one topic we addressed was the potential help for the Stacyville Fire Department as they look to rebuild after a fire destroyed their own station, or ripped through it anyway. The fire did major damage to the department building last week. They also lost a lot of their turnout gear, and several pieces of apparatus were also damaged. The fire was ruled accidental, and investigators say it all started with lithium-ion batteries that were charging. Senator Collins told us help could come in the form of a special spending request, but there could be other avenues as well.
Well, first, let me say that my heart goes out to the firefighters and other staff at the fire department. I can't imagine how devastating it must have been to watch the fire. I have been successful in securing funding for fire departments, fire stations all over the state. That cycle has finished and we're in the midst of a new cycle, but we would be very happy to work with Stacyville to prepare what's called a congressionally directed spending request for next year. Unfortunately, the window is closed for this year, but we'll also explore whether there are any federal grant programs or any other way of getting them the assistance that I know they desperately need.
Well, an additional note here that Senator Collins' office did circle back with us, and they have been in touch with Stacyville's fire department and are now working with them to find solutions. We'll have more on our sit down with Senator Collins throughout the week.
President Joe Biden has approved a major disaster declaration for the state of Maine. It will supplement recovery efforts in areas impacted by a severe winter storm from April 3rd to April 5th. A statement from FEMA says federal funding is available to state and local governments and certain nonprofits in Cumberland and York counties. But it's also available on a cost-sharing basis, for hazard mitigation measures statewide.
Well, last year, the number of people who died from an overdose in Maine decreased by 16%. That's according to data from the CDC. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bichard spoke with the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project to learn more about the work that's being done in order to help reduce that number even further.
I think I see our work really coming to fruition in that number.
Courtney Gary Allen is the organizing director for the Maine Recovery Advocacy Project, a statewide organization whose goal is to help promote safe recovery and policies surrounding them. She's talking about new data from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, which shows overdose deaths in Maine dropped 16% last year.
So I think it's really a celebration for all the hard work that many people across the state of Maine on the front lines of the opiate crisis have been doing, as well as Governor Mills' administration making sure that naloxone is widely available.
Gary Allen says while the number of overdose deaths last year decreased, it's still 3 times higher than it was 10 years ago. But the reason we might be seeing a slight improvement is due to a shift in policy and public perception.
I think for a period of the last 10 years, we had a really regressive policy stance on substance use where we were saying, no, you can't have naloxone. We're going to cut funding to treatment, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to ramp up putting folks in jail. And then we saw this new age of policymaking in Maine. And I think we're finally starting to see the benefits of that.
Despite the improvement, Gary Allen says more work needs to be done.
The other side of this, though, is that that's still 607 people who died from an accidental overdose last year, and that number is just simply too high.
Some of the specific policies Gary Allen points to is the shift of naloxone, or Narcan, from a prescription drug to one available over the counter, as well as the increased amount of people trained in and carrying the overdose reversal drug.
I think that what we've seen over about the last decade around naloxone is that the general public knows that this is an issue. It's their neighbors, their friends, their community members, or maybe even themselves. And this is one way that every citizen of Maine can be a part of the solution to addressing the opiate crisis in our community.
Gary Allen says advocates will keep pushing until the number of overdose and overdose deaths reaches 0. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bichard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Maine's Attorney General has now officially been named a defendant in a case regarding access to legal counsel in Maine. On Friday, the Kennebec County Superior Court granted the ACLU's motion to name Attorney General Aaron Frey as a defendant and updated their allegations in a lawsuit regarding what they say is the state's failure to provide attorneys to low-income defendants within a reasonable period of time following their arrest. The case was filed in 2022 and originally listed county sheriffs and the Maine Commission of Public Defense Services as defendants. Zachary Hayden, the chief counsel for the ACLU of Maine, says at the heart of this case is the state's failure to ensure constitutionally protected rights.
The problem keeps getting worse. And every day, more and more people across the state are sitting in jail or waiting weeks, sometimes months, to be given lawyers that they're constitutionally entitled to. Bringing in the Attorney General, expanding the case, will allow us to more fully address this expanded problem.
The case was expected to go to trial next month, but according to Hayden, probably won't be heard until later this fall.
Well, the Brewer Fire Department has a new piece of equipment to help save lives. The Lucas device is an automated chest compression machine to assist in CPR when someone is in cardiac arrest. Deputy Chief Eric Turtelot says, unlike people, it doesn't get tired from doing compressions, and you're able to move a person while you're still using it. He says those constant compressions increase the odds of a person's survival.
Our call volume increases every day, and that's for everybody. Right. Our numbers are going up, and we're just trying to answer those calls the best we can, as efficiently as we can, and if equipment is often the answer to help us achieve that.
The Lucas device cost about $25,000. The Penobscot County Commissioners gave them a grant for $15,000, and the City of Brewer paid for the rest. Turtelot says they will also be sharing that device with other area departments that need to use it.
A youth-led organization is working on a website to encourage more young people to get involved in politics. Maine Youth Action recently won a national grant to fund the development of the Maine Youth Political Portal. It's a website that will act as a resource and an inspiration for young Mainers interested in running for office. It will consist of a library of information and training resources, a list of contacts for endorsements and networking, and an intuitive candidate builder page that will enable users to walk through the process of planning their campaign.
The whole inspiration for it is to show youth that there are ways they can get involved in politics. And I think that's the real hurdle for young people, is that they have the motivation to do something, but this obstacle is not knowing how to go about doing it.
Cochrane says they hope to launch the website later this year.
What a neat tool that will be.
Yeah, sounds like a wealth of information.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, boat building is such an important part of life in this small town in Hancock County that public school students get a chance to try their hand at the craft. We'll check it out.
But first, another check of that weather forecast. A nice day ahead today. Partly cloudy skies with a high near 74. May even see more sunshine as the day rolls along. Partly cloudy tonight with lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy with a chance of showers. Highs near 71. We'll be right back.
Comfy, cozy, relaxing. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find rockers, recliners, sofas, and easy chairs. Quality furniture, affordable prices. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Taking the time to savor Thomas's crunchy yet soft bagels.
Thanks, Tom.
It's Tom, actually.
Right, Tom.
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 You doing that on purpose?
Tam.
Tam.
How have we got to Tam?
Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
You can't leave without cuddles, but you also can't leave covered in hair. With Bounce Pet, you can cuddle and brush that hair off. Bounce, it's the sheet.
Durable, sturdy, stylish. Not Joe. Joe's Furniture. Joe's Furniture Warehouse in Newport is the place to find solid wood, built to last, made in Maine dressers, bureaus, and nightstands. Not your average Joe. Joe's Furniture Warehouse, Grogan Avenue in Newport.
On the next Last Man Standing.
I refuse to believe you're going to high school because you will always be my baby. Where but cutie.
Their little girl is growing up.
You look beautiful. And you're grounded.
But is she ready to swim with the big fish?
I don't fit in. I don't have big boobs. I don't have a nose ring. I don't have a whale tail.
What's a whale tail?
You know, when your jeans ride down and your thong rides up.
Last Man Standing.
Weekdays at 3 on Fox 22.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. As we welcome the upcoming start of summer, many want to get out on the water.
But boating safety must come first for responsible fun. Our Callie Warren has tips from the U.S. Coast Guard on safely enjoying the water.
For those who love getting out on the ocean, it can be tempting to dive right in. But the U.S. Coast Guard says that's not the safest choice, saying it's best not to rush. Instead, first make sure safety equipment is on board and ready.
Sometimes, life jackets can be bulky, can be, a lot. It is a very good measure to take and have on your boat with you.
With an often large temperature disparity between the warm air and the shockingly cold sea, having a flotation device might just save your life.
Understanding that it's warm outside, but not nearly as warm in the water. And the water does take a while to warm up here, even in the harbors.
Ensure you're also packing a marine radio and plenty of food and water, no matter the length of your planned trip. And always keep loved ones informed of where you are and where you're going.
Most people are starting to get their boats back in the water now with the weather warming up. So if there's any hesitation or question, I know it can be troubling to know all the list of gear that you need on your boat. Don't hesitate to call us.
And if you still have any questions, they say don't hesitate to reach out and ask.
We'll help you in any manner, general questions or emergencies. We're there to answer the call.
For more information, visit our website at foxbangor.com. In Southwest Harbor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
The historic schooner Bowdoin and the frigid Arctic waters are synonymous with one another. And after 16 years apart, the two will be reunited once again.
Our Doug Banks takes us to Carousel Marina in Boothbay Harbor.
The story of the Bowdoin is a tale longer than its near 30 voyages to the Arctic. After 16 years apart, the Bowdoin will be returning to its home away from home.
Not many people get to say that they were part of the history and continue the history.
Students from Boothbay Regional Elementary School arrived at Carousel Marina to celebrate the history at port and to learn from the next on board.
Had to find the right person to captain this ship, which we have in Captain Peacock.
Standing on the quarterdeck in the same spot McMillan was, going in the same direction is a pretty cool feeling. And the boat knows the way, so yeah, trust the boat.
During their long-awaited voyage that set sail on Wednesday, the captain of the Bowdoin hopes his crew learns not just the technical aspects and the history that they're a part of, but rather he hopes his crew learns
a lot about themselves, how to be good mariners, but yeah, I just hope they come away with, personal growth.
Over 100 years of ice-crushing explorations are weaved into its wooden poetry, and when they return to Castine in late July, it's a journey that's years in the making for the historic Bowdoin and for the ones on board.
It still baffles me that we're leaving tomorrow. 3 years ago when we were writing that proposal, it just seemed so far away and unattainable. So to see it come to fruition is really, really exciting.
In Boothbay Harbor, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, boat building is a way of life in the town of Brooklyn, so much so that the community makes sure the students at the Brooklyn School get the opportunity to learn boat building skills at a very young age.
Our Jody Hersey stopped by to see their progress.
I think it's just crucial to tie the education of the youth of an area to the history of what goes on around there.
Brooklyn is a small town in Hancock County with a long history of wooden boat building. Eric Blake is the vice president of the Brooklyn Boat Yard. He's also a part-time teacher at the Brooklyn School, where the 7th and 8th grade students get the opportunity to learn boat building from the ground up.
It's a great way to connect, the students to their community. It's a great way to connect some of the mathematics and sciences and biologies that go on in the classroom. There's nothing like a tape measure to teach a kid about fractions and 1/16 of an inch.
Every Thursday during the school year, these students walk across the parking lot and into the boat building workshop.
I didn't even know this was a thing until I came to this school in the middle of the year last year.
The students measure, cut, sand, and stain the wood until it shines.
I love just being able to get hands-on and being able to work with power tools and get taught how to do different things.
8th grader Farrah Young hopes what she's learning in boat building will help her build a future on the water.
When I grow up, I just want to stay near the water where I can get out on the water and go to different places and explore.
The students will get to test out their skills when they put the boat in the water and visit Eggamuggin Reach at the end of the school year.
I really hope that they get out of it that they can really make anything.
In Brooklyn, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
class I would have taken. I was into shop and all that kind of thing, and they'll learn skills there that maybe they won't build a boat someday, but they'll use those skills in other things.
Right.
You know, it's fantastic for them.
Anything that has to do with the maritime economy in that area, you know, Hancock County, Washington County, if they can learn those skills,
they can go get a job anywhere doing that kind of stuff too. Hey, by the way, ocean temperatures off Bar Harbor this morning, about 48 degrees. We were talking about that earlier.
That's still a polar plunge.
Doesn't take too much to get hypothermia out there, so be careful.
Yep. I'm not going to Sand Beach anytime soon.
No.
All right, the time now is 8:20. After the break, all the latest from court on former President Trump's hush money trial.
Case going to the jury today. We'll have the details on that, plus your full forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Introducing Tailwaggers Mobile Pet Grooming. We bring the salon to your doorstep. With Tailwaggers, your furry friend receives top-notch care and attention from baths, haircuts, and nail trimming. We do it all. Say goodbye to stressful trips to the groomer. Tailwaggers makes grooming a breeze. Tailwaggers Mobile Pet Grooming, where convenience meets quality. Book your appointment today because your pet deserves the best.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
Thousands of people in North Texas are without power on Tuesday after severe storms rolled through the area. The power company Oncor says more than 600,000 customers reported outages just in that area. And officials warn those outages could last for several more days. Dallas County Judge Clay Jenkins has issued a disaster declaration. Wind gusts were reported at 95 miles per hour in some places. The gusts tore off roofs of buildings and knocked over 18-wheelers.
They've had some terrible storms down there, including ones that spawned the dozens of tornadoes in recent weeks. And you got to feel for the people kind of trapped in their homes right now because they don't have air conditioner if they don't have power. And that can be dangerous for some people. It gets so hot this time of year down there.
Right, yeah, over 90 degrees.
Yeah.
Scary stuff. All right, the time now is 8:23.
We have a pretty good forecast.
Yeah.
Today's looking good, and once we get through a little bit of rain tomorrow, things are brightening up for the weekend.
Getting hot, though, and you'll want your AC.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Here's your full forecast with Devin Biggs.
All righty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. All righty, wave heights, let's check in on those. At around 4 to 6 feet, a little bit active out there still, but despite that, we do not have any advisories in effect along the coast at this time or on land either. And I mentioned the land part because we do have some areas of dense fog greeting us this morning, near parts of Washington County and even near parts of Bar Harbor as well. So we might encounter some areas of fog this morning, but otherwise for now, no advisories posted. For now, under a partly cloudy sky today, and that's going to be the theme pretty much all day long. There's a little bit of rain further down toward the south and west. You might notice that right about here further off towards the south and west, but otherwise, the rest of us today looking pretty nice. We're entering a little bit more of a drier stretch moving forward with small chances, if any chances, of rain coming up for the rest of the week and lasting through the weekend as well. But otherwise, though, maybe a few storms moving through Ohio, and that's pretty much about it there. Otherwise, futurecast for today, a partly cloudy sky being being observed. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky again coming up later on tonight. Now for tomorrow, some more clouds do start to approach. There's a small chance for rain along the coast later on Thursday. So small chance for a shower or two along the coast. Otherwise, the rest of us staying dry with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. By Thursday night, the clouds start to break up. And then for your Friday, it looks like we're starting off with just some clouds, and that's about it. But a good amount of sunshine as well. Maybe a few gusty wind areas today, reaching up around 15 to 20 miles per hour at times. We'll lose some of that wind during the afternoon, and the winds really start to calm down by Wednesday night. As we head towards your Thursday, no issues with the wind, maybe a quick gust up to 10 miles per hour, but any of the higher gusts will stay further off towards the north. Average high temperature is 70 degrees, and overall for us, not looking too bad out there. We'll see temperatures that'll be a little bit warmer in the middle 70s today, and then lower 70s Thursday, back in the upper 60s Friday, middle 70s Saturday, and the 80s make a return Sunday, Monday, and also in your Tuesday. UV index forecast for today will be at a 7. That's considered high, so a burn time of around 30 minutes. Hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, shade will be necessary to avoid a bad sunburn, so it's time to start planning ahead for this as well. So for today, partly cloudy with highs in the mid-70s and the northwest wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight tonight, middle 40s, partly cloudy with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, here we go, mostly cloudy, highs in the lower 70s, maybe some isolated showers along the coast, and that north wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and more. Partly cloudy on Friday with highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Middle 70s for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy Sunday, a little bit warmer with highs in the lower 80s.
My name is Connie. The grandkids call me Meemaw. You can say I have a few gentlemen callers. She made the team.
And Meemaw got a date with the coach.
What? It was a productive afternoon. Young Sheldon.
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 22.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter. Febreze.
Hi, I use Febreze Fade Defy Plug.
And I use this.
Febreze has a microchip to control scent release, so it smells first day fresh for 50 days.
50 days?
And its refill reminder light means I'll never miss a day of freshness. Febreze Plug.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can do all your favorite beach activities, like spike ball, whitewater rafting, shrimp boils, wade fishing, or hanging with the locals. You can say that again.
You could get low 4.75 financing for 60 months on an all-wheel drive RAV4 hybrid or gas model, which could save you up to $1,600.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
Are your basement walls bowing, crumbling, or failing? Hi, I'm Tony Hafford with TC Hafford Basement Systems, all things basementy. Our stable lock wall system offers a patented, affordable, and permanent solution to save your foundation walls. It stabilizes, fills voids, and structurally repairs, leaving a new smooth surface. All the strength of new walls. Call TC Hafford Basement Systems today for all things basementy.
The prosecution taking the floor for closing arguments in former President Donald Trump's criminal hush money trial after the defense spoke earlier in the day.
Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has more from outside the Manhattan courthouse.
During lengthy closing arguments, prosecutors summed up their case and why they say the former president broke the law. They also told jurors they should believe their key witness, Michael Cohen, after the defense again painted him as a liar. Assistant District Attorney Joshua Steinglass spending hours Tuesday detailing how this case against Donald Trump is, quote, at its core about a conspiracy and a cover-up.
If you are going to bring a case against the former leader of the free world, it better be rock solid, airtight.
Steinglass explaining how the former president used his ex-attorney, Michael Cohen, and other witnesses to suppress negative stories in the media ahead of the 2016 election.
You heard Steinglass talking about this was about the campaign. This was about getting Donald Trump elected.
This includes a hush money payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels, who alleges they had an affair. then falsifying business records to cover it up. Steinglass painting Trump as a candidate looming behind every decision in order to manipulate and defraud the voters. Earlier in the day, the former president's defense team tried to discredit both Cohen and Daniels as unreliable witnesses who have previously lied and hold grudges against Trump.
If the whole case hinges on a known serial convicted liar, how could that not automatically, as a threshold matter, be an issue as far as doubt is concerned?
Closing arguments ended around 8 p.m. The jury is expected to start deliberating on Wednesday. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
And the court is expected to reconvene at 10 a.m. this morning. That's when the judge will give his instructions to the jurors. That's expected to take about an hour, and then the jury will begin their deliberations.
Good update. All right, in other news, multiple people are injured in Youngstown, Ohio, in an explosion at a bank. It happened Tuesday afternoon at a Chase bank. 7 people were treated at a hospital. 1 was in critical condition. At least 2 people, a man and a woman, were missing. Apartments in the building were evacuated, but no word on what caused the explosion.
Well, a multi-million-dollar pier built by the U.S. military to help get humanitarian aid into Gaza has now been shut down. Rough seas and bad weather heavily damaged that temporary pier. It's just the latest setback for the $320 million pier that began operating earlier this month. Last week, aid deliveries were paused for 2 days after crowds rushed trucks coming off the pier. And over the weekend, 4 Army boats used to transfer aid were unmoored and beached because of the rough waters. 3 U.S. service members were also injured while working on that pier. So vital, too, because that's like one of the only ways to get any food or any other things in to all the Palestinian civilians that are still trapped there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. And coming up on the second half of the newscast, the Brewer Riverwalk Festival is making its return this weekend. We'll see what officials have planned for the event.
Plus, we'll see how the weather will fare as that event unfolds, along with other things, as Good Morning Maine continues.
Planet Oats so creamy and not watery like.
Exactly, and unsweetened has 0 grams of sugar.
And don't forget, it's an excellent source of calcium. Wow, Planet Oat really has it all.
You guys are so right.
No, you are.
No, you are.
No, you are. Yeah, you are.
This Memorial Day, remember to honor the brave who sacrificed for our freedom. At the Furniture Gallery, we're here to help you create memorable moments at home. Add a new sofa, or a new recliner, or how about a new reclining sofa? Upgrade to a better night's sleep with a new mattress and get a free adjustable base. Completely transform your bedroom with a new Von Bassett bedroom set and save 20%. Join the Furniture Gallery this Memorial Day as we honor our heroes and offer unbeatable deals. Maine family-owned and operated, the Furniture Gallery.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. Today is also National Learn About Composting Day.
There's a local business that composts. They give you a 5-gallon bucket.
Really?
You fill it up, leave it on your Esplanade thingy, and they
Yep.
pick it up for you. I wish I knew the name of it. I'll
Yeah.
Google it while we're in sports.
Okay.
In weather. But compost is a mixture of ingredients that gets used as a plant fertilizer and improves the physical, chemical, and biological properties of soil. You can make compost by disposing of food scraps and other organic waste in a location outside or in a covered container inside. Just make sure it's kind of airtight.
Yeah.
This is both beneficial for gardens, but also the environment and our communities. Because in the United States, food is the single most common material that is sent to landfills, comprising of over 24% of municipal solid waste. To learn more, I suggest going to the EPA's webpage. They have a great one on composting.
Yeah, University of Maine Cooperative Extension Program, too.
Yes.
You ever have a question about plants or anything?
Yeah.
They know what to tell you there.
Right. So true.
Yep. All right, time for a little history now. On this day in history, back in 1453, the city of Constantinople, the capital of the Eastern Roman Empire, fell to the Turks, effectively ending the Byzantine Empire. In 1851, the first Black Women's Rights Convention occurred in Akron, Ohio. It was led by abolitionist and activist Sojourner Truth.
She's a big figure in history because I believe she was the first Black woman to win a lawsuit, or maybe Black person to win a lawsuit against a white man, because she sued for the rights to have her child with her, they were both born into slavery.
Interesting.
Yep.
All right, in 1861, another interesting character from history, Dorothea Dix, an advocate for the mentally ill who happened to be just born right in Hamden next to Bangor, offered her help in setting up hospitals for the Union Army. Also did a lot for the mentally ill and helped change the way that they were treated back in that time.
I love that we learn about Dorothea Dix on a national level, but of course, you know, us Central Mainers, especially Bangorians, I guess that's how you'd call us, we have a special relationship to her since there's the Dorothea Dix Hospital here in Bangor.
I believe they have a library over there in Hamden too, where you can go learn all about her and her life too.
Yep, an important figure. In 1886, Coca-Cola began to be advertised as a patented medicine, as a hangover cure and a hiccup remedy. I don't know if it would fix it anymore now that there's no hard drugs in it.
My grandmother, when we had bad tummy, she used to give us flat Coke. She would get Coke out and let the bubbles go out of it and give that to us, either that or ginger ale or something.
Yeah,
so,
I'd have flat ginger ale if I had a stomach issue.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Right. That makes sense.
Sick tummies.
Yep. In 1953, Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay of Nepal were the first to reach the summit of Mount Everest as part of a British expedition. In 1980, Larry Bird beat out Magic Johnson for NBA Rookie of the Year. And in 2004, the World War II Memorial was dedicated in Washington, D.C.
For birthdays today, we have American film composer Danny Elfman, known for music in films like The Nightmare Before Christmas, Beetlejuice, and Corpse Bride. He is 70 years old today. American singer and TV personality LaToya Jackson is 67 today. And American actress and LGBTQ advocate Laverne Cox is 51 years old today.
Loved her in Orange is the New Black. That was a great show.
Happy birthday to all of them.
Yep, happy birthday. Moving right along now, we're looking like it's going to be a beautiful weekend, which is great because there's all sorts of stuff this weekend.
Yeah, there sure are, including the Strawberry Festival in Perry.
Rhubarb Festival.
Rhubarb, I know. I keep thinking strawberry rhubarb.
Right.
I can't think of rhubarb without strawberry, but they're going to be doing all kinds of rhubarb things in Perry.
I know. It's really cool.
We'll hear about that coming up.
We have a live interview about that. But before we get there, let's send it over to Devin Biggs for a look at our forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, some areas of dense fog greeting us this morning. At the moment, no advisories are posted as a result of that, or the wave heights either, so we're looking okay in that department this morning. There's a few areas of reduced visibility because of some localized fog. But otherwise, though, there's a few passing clouds, maybe a little bit of moisture last night, but overall looking pretty good as we do take a look outside this morning. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky moving forward today. Zooming things out other parts of the Northeast, seeing just a little bit of rain this morning. Further out over the ocean, some lightning being detected, so some thunderstorms over the ocean. But for us, we're starting to enter in a little bit more of a drier stretch. So we'll be under a partly cloudy sky moving forward today. We'll be partly cloudy tonight. Tomorrow, though, maybe a slight chance for a rain shower or two. As for the winds, not too bad. Roughly at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Maybe some spots up to 11 miles per hour. Maybe a few gusts up to 15 or even 20 miles per hour at times. So for today, partly cloudy with highs in the mid-70s and the northwest winds sustained at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Some higher gusts are possible. By tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the middle 40s and the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, here we go, mostly cloudy, maybe some isolated showers with highs in the lower 70s and the north wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon period showing a partly cloudy sky, temperatures in the 60s and 70s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma?
Yeah, not bad at all.
Great weekend. Yeah, and great day ahead, too. Hey, before we move on real quick, that composting company, they serve Bangor, Brewer, and Hamden. It's called One Earth Composting, and I know it because I believe our reporter Jody did a story on them.
Is that where you can go get like a bucket of compost and use it in your own garden?
5-gallon bucket, yeah. Or they give you a 5-gallon bucket, and you can fill it up, and they'll take it. And you can also get, I believe, good soil in exchange. I don't know all of it, so don't quote me on that. But if you want to compost and you haven't started, I'd suggest looking into them.
Check out their website.
Yeah.
All right. Meanwhile, the Brewer Riverwalk Festival is returning for its 4th year this weekend. Renee Noble, the city's Deputy Economic Development Director, says more than 2,000 people attended last year, even though the weather was cold and rainy. Won't be the case this year.
Rennie's is going to be there?
Rennie's is good. All right. She says this year they are adding more music, a cornhole tournament, and a magician.
The brewer businesses help organize this because they know how successful it is and how useful it is to get people introduced to the area. Some people are coming that have never seen our downtown area.
Food trucks, theater performances, a craft fair, a touch a truck, and a non-profit tables will also be there this year. Activities will start at 9 o'clock on Saturday and will end with the fireworks at 9 p.m. Great place to go check out the fireworks too, right there along the waterfront there.
What a great festival.
Yeah. By the way, I did go to Rennie's too over the weekend, the new one in Bangor. I finally made it there. I bought myself a wicked cool Hawaiian shirt kind of thing.
Oh,
so
there you go.
It's gonna be
Summer
good.
Craig is out.
Summer Craig's back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Our photographer Dave Simpson will be excited to hear that.
Oh, he wears Hawaiian shirts every Friday.
Yeah. I like that tradition. Yeah. All right, right after the break, Tyler Cruz has our sports updates, and we'll hear about that Rhubarb
Festival.
Yeah. We'll be right back.
It's in Down East Maine.
Yeah.
There's a way to cut your dishwashing time by 50%. Try Dawn Power Wash Dish Spray. It removes 99% of grease and grime in half the time. It cleans so well, you can replace multiple cleaning products. Try Dawn Power Wash.
Summer's here, and with a new Toyota, you can capture all the moments that make summer, summer. Like driving a RAV4 to wade in a waterfall.
Nice.
Cruising to play mini golf in a Camry. Or taking a Tundra to the beach.
You're not gonna leave me here, are you?
You could get special low 1.99 financing on most 2024 Tundra hybrid and gas models, which could save you up to $4,100.
Your summer starts here.
Toyota, let's go places.
In 10 years, Lisa Schneider will have an amazing second act, thanks to career reskilling courses from AARP to help make sure her income lives as long as she does. The younger you are, the more you need AARP.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snowblowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
The $1 Million Music Game Show is back.
We need you to remember the lyrics of the song.
Don't forget the lyrics, all new Thursdays on Fox.
For the second time in the last 3 years, the Celtics are heading to the NBA Finals. Welcome back in, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. The Celtics punching their ticket to the Finals after completing the sweep of the Indiana Pacers on Monday. A big reason for that is the play of Jaylen Brown. JB was named the MVP of the Eastern Conference Finals after a stellar series, including tying the game, saving it with a block, and then assisting on the game winner on Monday. He had 40 points in Game 2 and then hit that last-second three in Game 1, afterwards receiving some high praise from his guys.
Finding guys that are so passionate about just getting better as players and people, and Jaylen is one of those. And so, from the first day I've been here, he's become more just like open-minded towards just growing as a basketball player. See what he's done in the community.
I mean, the great thing about JB is he's gotten better every single year that he's been in this league, which is a testament to his hard work and dedication. And he was unreal this whole series.
Finals kick off on June 6th. Let's go to the softball diamond. The Belfast Lions are one of the youngest teams in Class B North, but are having their best year in a while, and that success has been a long time coming. Ryan Sudol has more.
We didn't really know. We were kind of a wild card. At the beginning, I thought it was going to be a rebuilding year.
Well, this may be the quickest rebuild of all time. Belfast softball is 5th in B North and 11-4, their best season in 17 years.
It feels really amazing. Like our chemistry, it's like really working, so it's like really well to see like a good team come together.
After going 8-8 last year, the Lions did what they needed to do and have gone from 6 runs per game to over 10 runs per game.
My assistants put a lot of work into, studying this new technique, which is keeping it tight, hitting with the core. So far, it's been working.
Our only struggle really was our bats. Having the backup was really great.
Incredibly, this is all being done with a squad made up of 8 sophomores and 3 freshmen out of the 13 total players.
It's such a good experience to feel like Belfast softball, we finally have a good foundation. We have nowhere to go but up from here.
That foundation has been building and building. Before 2015, softball players in Waldo County had to play baseball after their T-ball days. That changed when Kevin Gray started Waldo County Youth Softball. 7 players from the original class are on this team. Their head coach, Kevin Gray.
My coaching staff that's with me right now, we've been coaching these girls ever since they were 8, 7, 6 years old. We were with the young kids, wouldn't it be cool to be up at the high school level?
Now that it's happening, the team is better for it.
Kevin means the world to me, and he's just such an amazing coach. It's such an honor to have him, and to know that he always has my back is just so amazing.
And with all this talk about how the Lions are built for the future, they're doing pretty good right now. So why not play for now?
If we put our minds to it and really work at practice and work hard, I think we could probably almost go to the glove. This is just the beginning for us.
In Belfast, I'm Ryan Sudol, ABC 7, Fox 22 Sports.
Thanks for that, Ryan. Staying with some high school sports, we'll get to some highlights now. Last few days of the regular season for spring sports. Let's head over to Bangor for some lacrosse. Bangor looking for their 10th win of the season, hosting the War Dogs of MCI Nokomis at Cameron Stadium. Rams up 1-0 in the first. Marc-Andre Perron's going to have it. He flips it over to Will Pelk, who rips one and scores. Bangor up 2-0. Same score now. Look at Miles Randall with it behind the net. A beautiful pass here, but Simon Chadbourne stuffs Eli Marsh right in front to keep it at 2-0. Richie Trott with it now. He is going to get by his man and fire on net. That one goes 3-0 unassisted. Rams led 3-0 after 1, and they would keep it going. Cole Mazzy now flips it over to Randall, and he spins and fires and gets it to go. Big game for the Rams. They win it 17-1. All right, now to Hedrick Field. Bangor visiting Brewer in some baseball. Win means playoffs are still in the cards for the Witches. Top second, Brewer up 1-0. Gio Socolo, a grounder, and what a stop by Grady Venetestein with his back to the ball. Gets the out at first. Bottom second, Brewers' Hunter Merrithew goes up the middle, but Ethan Sproul lays out and goes to first for the out. Some nice defense here early on. Top three, Bangor's Jack Shuck. A base hit, and in comes Jack Earl. That is going to tie the game at 1. Same score in the bottom of the 6th. Anderson Clifford at the plate. A line drive into left field. Caden Morin scores from third, and that makes it 2-1. Witches win it 4-1. And for some other scores from around the area, Foxcroft with a big win over Central in baseball. Ellsworth softball with a big win over John Bapps. Nokomis softball beats Levitt 3-2. And then in 9 innings, Old Town outlasting Orono 2-1. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after that.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
Looks like I'll be grilling again tonight. Oh boy, Hannaford makes it easy to find great savings and take grilling season to a whole new level. Huh, wait a second. Does this shopping list say broccoli or bratwurst? Who am I kidding? I went with bratwurst.
At Hannaford, you've got savings in the bag. Now through May 25th, boneless, skinless chicken breasts or thighs are just $1.99 a pound. Select varieties of Cape Cod or Lay's potato chips are just $2.49 each. And get 2 one-pound packages of fresh strawberries for just $4. Only at Hannaford Supermarkets.
Hey, Red Sox fans.
You've got to play You Pick'em Red Sox at foxbangor.com. Local weekly winners receive prizes from Chase's Family Restaurant and Hideaway Lounge or from Chick-fil-A. Register now at foxbangor.com. You Pick'em Red Sox is sponsored by Blind Faith Tattoo, Bangor, K&M Auto, Holden, Old Town Redemption Center, and Twin City Tile Brewer.
I'll do it in 15. I want to play, so I'm going to say 12. What?
25 words or less.
NYC.
Broadway.
Island.
Manhattan.
You know, Amber, you wanted to play, baby. You played.
Watch and win.
One word left.
Shopping.
Shopping cart.
Boom. Every weekday.
Did you see it, Amanda?
I'm impressed every time.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Crockett's Excavation and Auto Repair, located in Ellsworth, does it all. Whether you're looking to clear a lot, put in a driveway or road, or establish proper drainage, Crockett's Excavation has you covered. Crockett's Excavation takes pride in the fact that our work stands the test of time. Reach out today for a free estimate.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. We're here with Georgie Kendall and Sarah Wilcox. They're here representing Kendall Farms in Perry. Guys, thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having us.
And you have great merch. We can clearly see we're talking about the Rhubarb Festival that's coming up this weekend. This is the 3rd annual one, right?
Yes, yes. It will be Saturday, June the 1st from 12 to 5.
And you guys have a lot of stuff planned. I'm looking here at the schedule. Food, craft, and farm vendors, an obstacle course, a horse, there's breweries on tap, there's a winemaker, there's tips on harvesting rhubarb. Can you talk about, what other stuff is going on this weekend?
Well, the whole point of the Rhubarb Festival is to celebrate rhubarb and learn more about rhubarb.
Yep.
So we really have set it up to be as educational as possible for all ages. So we have demonstrations going on that people could attend, come in and out of. We have vendors selling rhubarb things here and there that are sweets and savories.
Sarah, you were talking about pickled rhubarb.
Yes.
So
pickled
I've never
rhubarb.
heard of something savory like that, but it makes sense.
Yes, yeah, it's a very versatile plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can also make mocktails and cocktails. With
Ooh, I've done that. I've
Yes.
infused gin with strawberries and rhubarb, and it
Yes.
was superb.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we'll have hard seltzer from Horn Run Brewing, brewing company there, and we'll have it with some rhubarb syrup. So you get like a rhubarb hard seltzer.
You got somebody teaching you how to make rhubarb wine even. The only time I've had rhubarb is like strawberry rhubarb pie.
Right.
But you can do a lot of stuff with this.
Yes. Yeah. Sweet and savory.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you were talking to, this puts a spotlight on Washington County in a cool way, because it's important to focus on that area of Maine.
Yes, it is. And what's exciting is that it's a time of year that doesn't get as much traffic. So it's early in June, and it's also when the rhubarb is prolific and ready to harvest. And I thought it would just be a fun time. Plus, it doesn't compete with as much things going on, other than graduations, of course.
Right.
But it also provides something for us to do to celebrate spring and a community gathering and celebrate food.
Right, and the weather looks great for it.
Oh, we're very excited about that.
Also, cost. What's the deal with that?
So admission is by donation, so you can pay whatever you can.
Wow.
And everybody's welcome.
Very accessible.
Very accessible.
And this is in Perry, right?
This is in Perry. It's at my farmstead on Boyden Lake.
Cool. What do you guys grow at the farm?
Well, it's more of a
gentleman's
type of farm, gentlewoman's farm, I guess.
Okay, cool.
But I do grow quite a bit of garlic, Georgian crystal garlic. And I also have 3 types of rhubarb. So we have quite a bit of rhubarb on the property. There's like an old heritage one that's stockier and green and not as sweet. And then we have a ruby red rhubarb, which has a nice dark red stalk. And then we have another one that's greenish pink, and we call it a strawberry rhubarb. So there's 3 types.
This is the time of year when everybody's sharing it too, I've noticed.
Yes.
Yeah. I know. I need to find some. I'll just show up this weekend.
We could have brought you some.
Yes, well, that's okay.
Yes.
So where is it again? We'll of course share the address on when we post it online. But
it's in eastern Washington County, so it's halfway between Calais and Eastport, just off of Route 1 at 20 Kendall Lane.
Perfect. Yeah, easy enough. And June 1st from 12 to 5. Cool.
Yes.
You guys will have a great turnout. I'm excited.
One more thing, you have a stock eating competition.
Yes, we do.
I've been in a strawberry rhubarb pie eating competition before, but this is, they're going to be eating the stalks?
Right. I
Yeah.
thought it would be fun to, I was at the Eastport 4th of July Festival watching the blueberry pie eating contest, and I thought maybe we should do a rhubarb pie eating contest, and I'm like, that's a lot of pies.
Right.
And so we decided to go with a stock eating competition, and it's hysterical to watch.
I love it. I love it. We'll have to have a
Very
camera
fibrous.
there. Yeah. Thank you guys for making the trip.
Thank you so much.
Of course. We'll send it over to Devin Biggs for our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Need the proper fit for your new spring and summer footwear? Visit us across from Irving and Newport. Alrighty, wave heights, let's check in on those. At around 4 to 6 feet, a little bit active out there still, but despite that, we do not have any advisories in effect along the coast at this time or on land either. And I mentioned the land part because we do have some areas of dense fog greeting us this morning, near parts of Washington County and even near parts of Bar Harbor as well. So we might encounter some areas of fog this morning, but otherwise for now, no advisories posted. For now, under a partly cloudy sky today, and that's going to be the theme pretty much all day long. There's a little bit of rain further down toward the south and west. You might notice that right about here further off towards the south and west, but otherwise, the rest of us today looking pretty nice. We're entering a little bit more of a drier stretch moving forward with small chances, if any chances, of rain coming up for the rest of the week and lasting through the weekend as well. But otherwise, though, maybe a few storms moving through Ohio, and that's pretty much about it there. Otherwise, futurecast for today, a partly cloudy sky being observed. We'll be under a partly cloudy sky again coming up later on tonight. Now for tomorrow, some more clouds do start to approach. There is a small chance for rain along the coast later on Thursday. So small chance for a shower or two along the coast. Otherwise, the rest of us staying dry with a mixture of clouds and sunshine. By Thursday night, the clouds start to break up. And then for your Friday, it looks like we're starting off with just some clouds, and that's about it. But a good amount of sunshine as well. Maybe a few gusty wind areas today, reaching up around 15 to 20 miles per hour at times. We'll lose some of that wind during the afternoon, and the winds really start to calm down by Wednesday night. As we head towards your Thursday, no issues with the wind, maybe a quick gust up to 10 miles per hour, but any of the higher gusts will stay further off towards the north. Average high temperature is 70 degrees, and overall for us, not looking too bad out there. We'll see temperatures that'll be a little bit warmer in the middle 70s today, and then lower 70s Thursday, back in the upper 60s Friday, middle 70s Saturday, and the 80s make a return Sunday, Monday, and also in your Tuesday. UV next forecast for today will be at a 7. That's considered high, so a burn time of around 30 minutes. Hat, sunglasses, sunscreen, shade will be necessary to avoid a bad sunburn, so it's time to start planning ahead for this as well. So for today, partly cloudy with highs in the mid-70s and the northwest wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Overnight tonight, middle 40s, partly cloudy with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, here we go, mostly cloudy, highs in the lower 70s, maybe some isolated showers along the coast, and that north wind at around 5 to 10 miles per hour. Alrighty, let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by Comfort Shoes and More. Partly cloudy on Friday with highs in the upper 60s to lower 70s. Middle 70s for your Saturday under a partly cloudy sky. Partly cloudy Sunday, a little bit warmer with highs in the lower 80s.
When you say let's go to breakfast, you mean let's go to McDonald's. Obviously.
Get 2 sausage McMuffin with egg or bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits for $4.50.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardiance. At each day's start, as time went on, it was easy to see. I'm lowering my A1C.
Jardiance works 24/7 in your body to flush out some sugar. And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too.
Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of infection in your legs or feet. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Jardiance is really swell, the little pill with a big story to tell.
Another morning to savor the crunchy nooks and cranny splendor of a Thomas's English muffin.
Tom, which is a nook and which is a cranny?
That's a nook, cranny, 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 nook, cranny. I mean, they should be teaching you this in school. Huzzah! A toast to breakfast.
With Cascade Platinum Plus, I have upped my dish game.
Oh, and see, in that dishwasher.
Watch me.
Platinum Plus gives you the highest standard of clean, even in your machine.
Clean enough for you?
Yeah.
Scrape, load, done. Cascade Platinum Plus.
If you have to ask why it's important to start your day early, here's your answer.
Kick your morning routine into high gear with any sized iced coffee for just $1.99.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
All right, looks like we're about out of time for now. If you want to see that interview again or you want to know exactly where it is, I'll get it posted on foxbangor.com. We'll, of course, be back tomorrow at 6 a.m. on ABC7 and Fox 22.
I'm going to go see if I can find myself some strawberry rhubarb pie somewhere.
Yeah.
I have a wicked craving. I don't know why.
I'm going to have to barter. Maybe if somebody gives me some of theirs, I'll make them a pie or something.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. All right.
All right. Have a great day.
Have a...
Today on 25 Words or Less, she's so funny.